Yes, YouTube, welcome back. This video is going to be the power of tracking your progress. So throughout this video, we're going to be going through why we get clients to track, what we get clients to track, how tracking is useful, why it is not restrictive, and how it will help you as a viewer 10 times your results. So first of all, let's explain the importance of tracking in our opinion. Do you want to go?
I'll go for it. So anything that you can track, is manageable. So it can be fixable. So if you're not tracking anything, you don't actually know what's going wrong. Best example is people who go into the gym and train. If you're going in and every single week you just put in the weight on the machine, or you're picking a weight up and putting it on the machine because you did it the same last week, and you're doing that over a 12-month period, you've just done 12 months of training doing the exact same thing every single week.
You will not progress doing that. Let's just say you will not progress at all. You will stay the same.
Yeah, it's literally like, exactly, you'll stay the same because you're doing the same thing consistently. You will never know unless you track.
The importance of tracking for me is it removes guessing.
Yes.
It removes the guesswork out of everything. And we aren't saying that everyone should track till they're 70 years old, right? It's fucking stupid. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but like, you probably don't want it. Yeah, you probably listen to this now. Do I want to track everything? So it removes the guesswork, right? And like Dylan said, if you're tracking things, then there's no guessing involved. It's data that then drives an informed decision on what you should do next week, or whether what you're doing is right, whether what you're doing is can be improved, and how you can improve off that. So the main thing for me is it removes guesswork. It gives you data, it gives you confidence and the power and the ability to analyse yourself and go, have I done better than last week? No. Why not? What's gone wrong? Did I eat more food one day? Did I fuck up at the weekend? Did I have shit sleep the night before I didn't perform in my training session? These type of things. So, with tracking, what would you advise the viewer to track?
First things first.
If they want to improve the physique. Yeah, so if they want to improve the physique, with you listening to this, I'm guessing you want to either lose some body fat or build some muscle. So in terms of like losing body fat, let's make it a bit more specific. What would someone need to track?
It's got to be calories. Like, so many people who come start coaching, or people who even I'm just mates with and you talk to, and I don't know what a good example could be here, but let's just say, for instance, mayonnaise. This is a good example. If I had mayonnaise with one of my meals and I never ever tracked it before, and then the first time I track it, I weigh out how much I'm actually having, it can be up to like 200, 500 calories. And if you start to learn how many calories you need to be eating to actually be losing body fat to stay in a calorie deficit, you go, oh my God, I'm having like a full worth meal throughout the day of just mayonnaise.
Yeah.
That's my first example, is Hellman's mayo. You've ruined 2 years of my progress. But calories are probably the first thing that you want to track, because then you actually learn to realise how much is in the food that you're eating, because food's so accessible now. People just take it for granted and they just eat it for the sake of it. And it's difficult, especially in Western society, because food is kind of like a social thing. Drink's a social thing. But there's a lot of calories in those foods and drinks that you're going to be having a lot throughout the day. And sometimes it's not just, oh no, just eat it, it's good for you. It's like, no, there's fucking 2,000 calories in that meal, mum. I'm not going to eat that because I'm going to end up putting loads of weight on.
Yeah, it's just like calories, definitely. If you want to lose body fat, calories is an absolute must. Yeah, like absolute must. Second is tracking your scale weight, fasted in the morning, every day, right? You might think, what, every day? Is that not a bit obsessive? No, because you don't look at it in an obsessive way. You look at it in a metric way of just data to track to give you advice on whether you're progressing or not. So why do we track it every day? So we get clients to track it every day, and we take an average of them weights over a week. So for example, say you start at £200 and you go down to 198 the day after because you've been in a calorie deficit. Then you go back up to 199, you think, what the fuck's going on? You go back down to 198, and then you keep going up between 198 and 199, and then you drop to 197 at the end of the week, right? The average through that little wiggly line, should we say, will be like this. Yeah? So we always look at the rolling average going down as opposed to what you are day to day. I always say to clients, like, I don't care what goes on in the week. Like, I don't care about your weights in the middle of the week here. I only care about this average. Is this average coming down? Yes, it is. Is your goal fat loss? Yes, it is. We're losing fat then. Yeah. So I think calories, weight, even if you want to lose body fat or build muscle, both of them.
Yeah.
Protein target.
Yeah.
Protein target is massive. We want to track protein based around that if you're wanting to lose body fat, you want to keep all the muscle. If you're wanting to build muscle, you want to build more muscle. And protein's the most important macronutrient. Yeah. It helps with muscle protein synthesis. It'll help maintain lean body mass and build lean body mass. It'll also preserve lean body mass in a deficit. So there's a lot of fucking good points to protein. It's actually amino acids, which is the most broken down form of a protein, are actually utilised to rebuild nearly every cell in the body. That's how important protein is. So with protein, how would you kind of, how do you know how much you need, right? What a lot of people say is they say, and we used to say this, but we've just changed recently. So we used to say 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, right? And that isn't wrong, by the way. But as a minimum, you'd need 1 gram of protein per lean body mass, per 1 pound of lean body mass. How do you know your lean body mass? If you go on Google and you type in male body fat image chart, and it'll give you a body fat image chart of somebody who's 8%, 12%, 15%, 20%, 25, 30, 40, 35, 40, for male and female. Your current physique, you want to compare it to one of them and see where you're nearest. Say you're 20% and you're a 200 pound male. What you'd then do is you'd do 200 times 0.2, and that'd give you 40. Then you'd do 200 minus 40, because 40 is your fat mass. And then the 200 minus 40 is 160. 160 is your lean body mass. Yeah. So then you'd need 160 grams of protein, as a minimum. You could go up to 200. You could probably go up to 220, maybe even 230. Past that point, you'll probably get some form of GI issue. Watch my stomach acid YouTube if you want to know why. But without going all into that, that's how you'd calculate protein. Yeah. So we want 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of lean body mass. Yeah. Then what else could you track, Dill?
Training. Like I said at the start, training is probably one of the main ones. If you're looking to progress, build muscle, or even preserve lean muscle mass, you want to be progressing with your training, or at least maintaining. So if you're somebody who I said at the start, well, I don't even know what we'll call him, but that person who we said at the start who's doing the same thing every single day for 12 months, you're never going to progress with your training. And if you actually understand what progressive overload is, which is providing more stimulus to a muscle so then it can repair and grow and get stronger the next time around that you use it, you have to be able to put your body in an uncomfortable situation by making the exercise harder each week. If you're not going up in weight, you're not increasing the intensity of the session by adding in slower tempos or adding in more reps, then you're not going to change, because your physique's never going to be put under any sort of stress or stimulus to be able to recover and repair from. So track your training and make sure that you're always going up in your weight, your reps, or your tempo each week.
And then the last one for me is, well, for both of us probably, as a minimum, this is a minimum. We track a couple more variables with clients, but they're probably not as important, is output. Yeah? So steps and cardio combined. Yeah. So you want to kind of give yourself a step target and a cardio target. Start minimal on the cardio target and push your steps up first, is my honest opinion. But why you should track these is because you know basically how many calories you're going to burn. You don't know specifically, but say if you track your calories and you're at 2,500 calories, you've got your protein right, you're tracking your training, you do 10,000 steps a day and 1 30-minute cardio, and you don't lose any weight, and you've been consistent at 2,500 over 7 days, let's say that, then you know that either you have to pull your calories down or push your output up. Yeah? Simple. Or do a bit of both. Yeah? But you can see how just from us saying about tracking there, about tracking calories, tracking protein, tracking steps, tracking output, and tracking training, and tracking your weight, forgot that one, that you can then create a plan for the next week dependent on what the data says.
Yeah, and like stuff we've not touched on though as well, like tracking stress, how well you manage your stress, tracking your digestion, tracking the way you feel. Like, we're not saying you have to minutely put in every single little bit, but just having a little bit of self-reflection at the end of the week and looking at these things, you will then know what works for you, and you'll know what to do moving forwards. If you've never even sat and thought, oh, how does my body react to certain foods, or how do I know how to progress in my training sessions, what split works for me, how many calories do I need to eat to lose weight, then you're trying to hit a goal of getting lean or building muscle. You, in the plainest way possible, you're pissing in the wind. Like there's literally no way you'll ever make progress because you don't know what works for you. So you have to track for a select period of time, go through all of these things to figure out what's going to work for you. Exactly.
And obviously there's tracking apps everywhere these days. So MyFitnessPal chronometer to track your calories and protein, the Strong app or Heavy Set to track your training. You could even create a spreadsheet on Google Documents, to Google Sheets, and create like a spreadsheet to track your weight. Yeah, so like there's all type of tools that you can access through a phone. I've not got mine on me for your phone through your phone in order to see whether you're progressing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, with somebody who's watching this and you're thinking, how do I do all of this? Right. Obviously all them apps will help. And if you're someone who's serious about progress, then, and you're kind of not quite too sure and maybe this is a bit overwhelming, then literally reach out to someone who you trust in that will help you with these things. Yeah. And I'm not saying us. Yeah. I mean, you can reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to help. But if you're really serious about progress and you're really wanting to level yourself up, yeah, then tracking is a must for a period of time. And like we said at the beginning, you might be like, but I don't want to track all that forever. That's cool, because what do? We help people come away from tracking when they've got to the goal. So, for example, say if you track for 1.5 to 2 years straight every day, or 90% of the time, let's say, you will gain so much more clarity and confidence around portion size, macronutrients, progression, building muscle, losing body fat, how to maintain. And then once you've tracked for so long, you can honestly start coming away from tracking. If I wanted to maintain these days, and same with Dylan, we could probably not track and we'd maintain our weight. And the reason being is because we've done it for so long, yeah? And we help clients to do this, yeah? We help clients come away from that tracking because we do understand that you don't want to be a slave to your phone with tracking things all the time. That's okay, yeah? But it is about developing that intuitiveness, is that a word? In order to track, in order to, come away from tracking. And I think, me personally, that's everyone's goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is everyone's goal eventually. But always remember, if you want to progress, you're going to have to track. Like, for example, I went away from tracking. I didn't bodybuild all 2024. I just maintained where I was at. I didn't really track that much. I started bodybuilding again and like prepping for competition. I didn't plan on doing, but I wanted to, so I did. And then I had to start tracking in a gaining phase because I knew I had to be more specific. And then now I'm tracking every day when I'm dieting. Why? Because I fucking have to.
Yeah.
In order to progress. In order to get to where I want to be, I have to track. And I think one last thing that we've not said about tracking is when you're tracking your calories and you're tracking your protein, you'll have to start weighing food. That's one thing we didn't say.
Yeah.
So weighing food is so important because if you're just guessing food and not getting some kitchen scales, again, it's guesswork.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to piss in the wind because you're actually putting something in MyFitnessPal that's not actually true.
Yeah.
So
you'd rather be accurate than wrong.
You need to be accurate with these things.
100%.
So to round off, tracking will help you gain confidence and clarity over your own situation.
Yeah.
Tracking is restrictive to a certain degree, but it creates flexibility in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because you might be a bit more restrictive for select periods of time throughout the year, which is very actually healthy, for people to do. And I will say that with confidence because we've helped a lot of people do this through a bit of restriction for select period of times to create flexibility. And it will actually help you gain confidence, gain clarity, not be as restrictive in the long run and be more flexible and actually be a happier individual in the long run. You'll have to put the hard yards in at first, but everyone does. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like you said, it's going back to, we've done a video about this, about being disciplined. It's just that short-term sacrifice almost of just being like, do you know what, I'm just going to have to track now. make sure I know where I'm at, to then in the future being like, oh, I know what I'm doing now, I know how my body works, I know how to go through a gaining phase, how to go through a maintenance phase, how to lose body fat, and you've got all the fundamental tools then to be able to take on any goal that you set yourself.
100%. So thank you for listening, everyone. Drop a comment with any questions that you have for me or Dylan that's related to tracking, any kind of roadblocks that you find that you get with tracking. And if you want to find us on Instagram, Nathan_transcend, Dylan_transcend. See you in the next video.